the reason the county police was created was in 1957. They were created to investigate corruption at the sheriff's office. I would never ask any one of my deputies, jailers, anybody to do something that I'm not going to do myself.
So you got to ask yourself, why do you want to do this? What keeps you motivated to stay proactive and get bad guys off the street?
The facts is a big cannon against a little tiny gun of opinions, because we've all heard people give us their opinions.
Let's talk about how easy it is to get narcotics in this country.
Once they're in this country, anywhere within 2 days, the drugs will be in our cities.
Because we know knowledge is power.
In this next podcast, I had the opportunity and privilege to interview one of my good friends. I've known him maybe since 2014 or 2015. I met him through the canine world, and he's a cop's cop. Kind of been there, done that, all across all avenues of law enforcement. And now he decided to, run for politics, I guess. I know he doesn't like that terminology, but he's running for the sheriff's office in Gaston County. As cops, we always want people that understand what we go through, what we do, and what our goals are. So him being a cop's cop and us always wanting cops in those admin or leadership roles, when someone runs, even if it's across the country from me, I have to support him, because that's the new face. That's the face of law enforcement that we want in this country. He's an amazing guy, down to earth, straight shooter. He's not going to pull any punches, and he's not going to bullshit you. He's going to be very upfront and honest, whether you want to hear it or not. And I would much prefer my leadership and my politicians to be that way. If you tell me the reason that you're doing things, even if I don't necessarily agree with them, at least I have an understanding where your mindset is and where you're going to be headed with, that political position that you hold or that leadership role that you hold. So check out this podcast. Let me know what you think. He's an amazing dude. And if you're in North Carolina and have the opportunity to vote in Gaston County, I think you should vote for Robbie Waldrop. Let me know what you think.
I'm here in North Carolina with a good friend, Robbie Waldrop. I've known him for several years through the canine community. He brought me down here to host my class at his agency, and he is running for the Gaston County Sheriff's Office. They have a police department, they have a county police department, and then they have a sheriff's office. You guys won't know this, but I didn't record video last time, and I screwed that up, so I want to make sure that that I'm clear on that. He's a great friend, he's a great person, he's a great cop. We're going to talk about everything from childhood to what he's doing now and what his future looks like. So I'll sit back and let him talk, and go ahead, man, it's your show.
Yeah, so born and raised here in Gaston, and for me growing up, it was sports. From a very young age, it was baseball, basketball, football, and I think the thing that kind of tailored my life to where I am now is the fact that I grew up with a single mom. She was a single parent, and my grandma lived with us my entire life. So, I spent a lot of time with my grandmother, and my mom worked 2 and 3 jobs. And I think that watching her make that sacrifice for me at a young age to be successful and give me everything that I wanted it translated as I got older to hard work. And I realized that very quickly that that's what it takes. If you're going to be successful, you gotta mirror yourself after people who are successful. So I did that, and I was very successful in athletics due to watching her do what she does. And
do you have any? Sorry to interrupt. Do you have any siblings?
No siblings.
And then was dad in the life at all, like visitation? Because I come from a split family, and that's not my dad had custody, and I would go see my mom on the weekends and that type of stuff.
Yeah, so that was the great thing, is that my dad had, we did have, weekends. Like my mom told him, like anytime, you want to spend time with him, more than welcome. So I would usually do weekends with him and through the week with my mom. And that was, consistent throughout, most of my life. They were both there and involved. So, and, they had a great relationship. That makes it a lot easier too.
For sure. Was he athletic? Mom athletic at all?
So, mom, yes. a little bit athletic. Dad, I don't believe Dad ever played anything, and he watched sports and encouraged me, absolutely, and he loved basketball. So I think that's kind of where, I got the love for basketball. It was him, yeah.
And then you said Grandma lived with you, right?
Yes, our entire life, yeah.
Grandpa not in the picture?
No, he died. He passed away before I was born, so
Okay.
I never knew him.
Do you think that growing up with a lot of female influence kind of helped molded you like the person you are? And not like me knowing you, you're kind of you're a big dude, but you're like a soft man at heart. I'm not trying to be like degrade you. You know what I mean?
No,
I
get it.
You're not like a big like I don't know, egotistical. You're very like soft, very caring, very passionate person.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that comes with
1,000%.
Okay.
1,000%. And I credit that to my mom again. She, by being raised by a woman, is different in many aspects. But a quick story about that. So, for instance, she always taught me how to treat a woman. Like, open the car door, open the door to a restaurant, hold it for multiple people, pull out the chair for a woman. Like, all those things she kind of instilled in me to do. And I remember being in, I think it was like maybe 7th grade. I'm in junior high. And I didn't really have girlfriends per se because my love was basketball. Like, if you didn't have a basketball goal at your house, we weren't friends. So, yeah, it was like, so I would have a girlfriend, and all of a sudden I got to my last year in junior high. I was like, I want to go to prom. I've never been, kind of want to go. And there was a really pretty girl in school, and like, I don't know, she asked me, but I had a semi-girlfriend, and she was like, hey, do you want to go to prom? I was like, yeah. And I went home, told my mom I was really excited. I was like, man, can you believe this girl wants to go to prom with me? Like, yeah, that's awesome. And then she was like, well, what about so-and-so? And I was like, I mean, she'll be fine. She'll find somebody. She was like, no. Like, you're going to call her. I'm going to sit here with you. You're going to tell her that you're not taking her because you want to take this other girl. And you're going to man up. You're going to, that's how you do things. Like, you don't leave somebody hanging out to dry or anything like that. So I think things like that, going through it, like, you learn to either make the tough decision, do the right thing, or don't do it at all. So 1,000% being raised by a woman, and mostly women, yeah, it changes your perspective on life a lot.
When it comes to sports, at what age did you start playing sports? Elementary school?
Yeah, like fifth grade, so 10 maybe is when I got involved. Yeah.
Were you always athletic, or is that something that took hard work and practice to get there?
Oh, definitely a lot of hard work. I think I was athletic, God-given talent, to be able to run fast, jump high, things like that. But my mom used to drop me off at the gym, or when I wasn't running the neighborhood with the kids and playing football, baseball, basketball. As far as organized, she'd drop me off at the YMCA at 8 in the morning and pick me up at 9 at night, and that was my life, and I loved it. Loved every minute of it.
So through high school playing basketball, did you play other sports in high school too?
I did not. I did not. Junior high I did, and then I got to high school, and I could see the writing on the wall that I think when I got to high school I was 6'2", maybe 130 pounds. Like, I was like this big. So football team, we had a really good football team in high school, and I went out there and watched them, and I was like, yeah, I'm good. Watched the baseball team again, went to the state. They were phenomenal. I wasn't that level, but basketball, I was like, this is my ticket to do something, to get an education paid for, things like that. So I knew I'm just going to stick with that.
Did you start playing freshman year on varsity level, or was it like, do you have a freshman team, JV, and varsity? We just had JV and varsity, but okay. I played on the varsity team, but I wasn't getting the playing time that I thought would make me better, so kind of demoted myself. But I still played with the varsity team when they would travel and do things, but I played a JV schedule most of the time just to get the time, get the repetition. Did you stay in Gastonia to go to school?
So I was here for my 10th and 11th grade year, and then my senior year I went to Oak Hill Academy in Virginia. And so that was a situation where my 11th grade year, I had a really good year. I led the county in scoring. I went to the top 100 in the state and performed really well during that game and that camp. And then, I got a call from Oak Hill Academy, hey, you want to come up and try out? And so when you go try out, you play against the team that's there that year. And, of course, they're talented. They've been playing together all year. But it's you and a bunch of guys you've never met before playing against them. It's kind of not fair. But I did, I think I had like 28 points or something. I did really well. I think I surprised myself a little bit. And the coach even told me, he said, we were kind of here with you. Like, we knew you could shoot it. Like, I just didn't know if I needed another shooter or not. But he said there was a point during the game, toward the end of the game, where somebody went up for a layup. They missed. It came off the rim. And I just dunked it back in over some guy. And he was like, yeah, we're going to take him. And so, that was good to hear from Coach. But, so I went there my senior year and absolutely loved it.
Did you have to go live up there and everything then?
You do.
And is that your parents have to pay for that, or is that like scholarships?
It's like scholarship,
okay.
Yeah. It's so it's very secluded. It's a small campus. I think total in the schools maybe at the time 120 people. The campus is divided, so girls on one side, guys on the other, and you can't cross the line after like 6 o'clock. So, the basketball team lived together. We were in a 3-story house, and, that was an experience too.
Did you play with anyone that people might know?
Yeah, so my roommate there was Steven Jackson. He played, I think like 15. Yeah, he played with the Pacers at one time, played with the Hornets, played with the Spurs. He won a championship with the Spurs. So he played in the NBA for like 15 years, give or take. And, he's still, now he's got a podcast doing his thing. He's a good guy. So
what's that travel schedule look like for them? Do they travel across the country and everything, or is it more of a local type? I don't know how it works.
Yeah, so most high schools play like a 20-game schedule or something. So I think our senior year we may have played 60 games.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so you it's more like, and I told my mom when I went to college, I was like, man, we traveled more in high school than we do in college. So we would go to California, we would fly out, and the thing I enjoyed about it was basketball, which I love, but I really needed to work on my academics. I didn't take academics very serious because of my love for basketball. And so, at that point, we would have tutors travel with us on the plane, and, we would have to put in so many hours traveling in order to be able to play that weekend. But when we go out to a tournament, we could play 6-7 games, during that weekend. And then we would go from California to Texas, back to Virginia, then go to Tennessee. Like, we rarely took a bus. It was flying all over the country to go play in tournaments, because it was more about, you want to be the number one team in the nation. And so you have to travel to beat all these known teams. And it was probably, basketball wise, the best experience of my life.
That's awesome. Before you went there, were your colleges looking at you all scholarship wise at all, or no?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So at the time, the recruiting rules are different than they are now, but we constantly, like, my mom, we had shoe boxes full of letters from all universities, and I had offers from multiple, but the reason I chose Winthrop University was because I wanted it instant, like everybody wants Amazon now because you want it the next day. I want to play as soon as I go there. And like, I got offered from NC State. We want you to sit your first year in redshirt. We want you to gain weight, work out in the weight room. I didn't want to. And other universities, I just didn't, for me, it was prestigious to be able to get an offer from them, but
you just want to play?
I just wanted to play. That was my goal. And plus, it was a scholarship. Mm-hmm. It's free education. So, and Winthrop's a great school academically. So,
when you got the opportunity to leave, was that a hard choice to leave home? Have you ever been away from home for that extended period of time like that, or not?
I had not. No. So, I think it was hard for probably the first month or two. You have a honeymoon phase at first because you and the team are cutting up, you're having fun, everything's all good. But when you can't leave on the weekends and you're there, and my first dose of you're washing your own clothes, you're you're doing your own grocery shopping. We didn't have a grocery store. To go to the grocery store was like an hour away.
Damn.
So like I got really good at making a list of everything I needed for. We didn't go weekly, so yeah, you had to really plan. So it taught me a lot of life lessons being up there on my own, and but no, I loved it. And we had one phone in this house, so waiting on guys to get off the phone so I could call my family. Yeah, that was another story. And and me being 6'4" at the time, 160, I'm still, probably the third smallest guy in the house.
Wow.
Yeah, so my roommate's 6'8", 225, and the guys across the hall are 6'10", 6'11", 6'9", and I'm just like, hey, I'll wait on y'all.
How did you guys perform that year? What was your guys' record?
I think we finished 4th in the nation.
Okay.
We didn't do as well as we expected. I think because we had very high expectations of that team. We had a talented team, but just a few things and some injuries really knocked us down. We beat the teams that we should have beat. We didn't beat the teams that had no business being on the court with us, and that hurt us.
At what point did you start to think law enforcement was an option for you?
So I never thought about being in law enforcement at all. My plan was to play professional basketball and make enough money to come back, and I didn't have a backup plan, none whatsoever. So when basketball was taken off the table,
what happened there?
My belief was that my body could not sustain the beating that it takes to be an NBA player. I just wasn't built like that. Talented-wise, the scouts told me, hey, you can shoot it, you're fast, you can jump. You need to put on a little size, we can do that. But my injuries, they kept adding up, and I couldn't make it go away. It's like I couldn't stay healthy that I needed to perform. And I knew, playing against Steve, I guarded him. I'm like, this guy's a 2-guard. I'm a 2-guard. He's 6'7", 6'8", 225, and we're playing the same position. That's not right. And so I knew by guarding him in high school that to make it to the pros, I'm going to have to get to that level. And it's just, I knew, it was a hard decision, but I knew I need to find something else. So professional basketball, I got offered, and again, it was taken off the table due to injury. So I knew I had to find something here. And law enforcement, honestly, wasn't even an option.
What'd you go to school for?
Sociology.
Okay. And then what'd you do when you got out of college?
So I came back here and I taught high school for my first year out. I taught health and history.
Okay.
Yeah.
For 1 year? 1 year alone?
1 year was enough. So I did that. No, I enjoyed it, because I got to coach at the same time, coach basketball. So that gave me the opportunity to work with our youth and kind of encourage them, because at the time I'm fresh out of it. I have the perspective and the training of what goes on. But then I just didn't like teaching. I knew it wasn't for me.
Was it being in the classroom that was kind of rough for you?
I think it was.
I went through my first year as college as I wanted to be a teacher too, and they had me go do like I don't know what it's called even, but I part of my class towards the end of it, one of the classes I had to go in 1 day a week and sit through like a teacher, basically observe them and take notes, and then I would speak occasionally. And sitting in a classroom for 8 hours a day was brutal for me. So I was like, this is I don't know if this is gonna work out. But yeah, so that's the only reason I was asking that. Yeah, it's kind of rough.
Same. Yeah, it wasn't for me. And so I left that and did working with underprivileged youth. I did that for a year. And again, it was good money, and I knew I was doing a good thing. I was contributing to the community, but it's just not me. It's like, it's not my way to give back.
Was that more office type stuff too?
No, it was in the field, like working with youth, and after school hours, stuff like that. But I still didn't feel like that was it. I wasn't fulfilled. Like, hey, I know I'm doing a good thing, but I don't think this is my purpose. And to be honest, I went through a period there where I prayed every day to find the perfect job, whatever that be, something that makes me happy. And you know, it was a blessing for me because I lie to you not, I am on my couch praying on a commercial of a Panthers game on a Sunday, and I just got finished. You know how you say like a 10-second prayer in your head, like, I don't want to go to work tomorrow. Please, Lord, if you can find it in yourself to lead me in the right direction I'm supposed to be. As soon as I finish with, you know, where I'm supposed to be, knock on my door. Lie to you not. You know, I live in a place, I don't get that many visitors. So I go to the door, wasn't expecting anybody, and it's one of my childhood best friends. I haven't seen him at the time, probably over 10 years. He's working for the county police, wearing the uniform. And I didn't know that. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, good to see you. You know, we catch up for a second. And I was like, you know, why are you here? He's like, well, your neighbor's, like a couple doors down, their trailer got stolen in their driveway. He's like, did you happen to see it? Anything, you know, during this time? I was like, no, I didn't see anything. I was like, but again, let's get back to, you know, you're a cop. Like, tell me about it. And he told me at the time, he's like, man, it's the best thing ever. I'm like, really? Like, enlighten me. I'm curious. So he starts telling me about, you know, the department. And I'm like, wow. He's like, you know what? You should come ride along with us. Okay. Next day, I go fill out a ride along. And I do the ride along, like, I think it was the following day. I do a ride along. And absolutely fell in love with it. I was like, this right here is going to fill the void that I've missed from basketball. I need a new love, and I think this is it.
Do you think the sport camaraderie from playing basketball, having it be on teams, counting on other people counting on you, and then going to professions that it's not necessarily there, and then when you get to the police department, do you feel like that kind of was that void that you were missing?
100%. The teamwork atmosphere, the camaraderie just between the guys, you know, especially later on in specialized units. But I don't know, for me initially, I got just that, you know, because there is a safety aspect to it, but you get that adrenaline dump, and I hadn't had that in 2 years. So I was like, oh man, I just felt that again, what I got from basketball. So yeah, and then the following day is when I turned in my application to the department.
And what year was this?
That was 2003.
Did 9/11 have any impact on you?
Gentlemen, whether you were leading the charge at work or just in line at happy hour, you need gear that can keep up. From our rugged beard and oil balm that tame the wildest whiskers to our classic pomade that locks in that clean, commanding look, Semper Suave has your six. No flakes, no fuss, all day, and battlefield level confidence. So square that beard line up, even though people in counterculture think that I don't have a beard. Donut shop. Semper Suave has got your six. Make you look slick and keep you sharp for critical missions or to serve and protect. Check out Semper Suave. We're thrilled to have them as a sponsor. Let us know what you think.
Did that have any impact on you wanting to be a cop? And not really?
I don't think so, because, you know, my thought was military. Mm-hmm. Like that was where I kind of felt like, man, I might do the military thing. And, you know, I've got family that were in the military, and they would have been, you know, encouraging as well. And my mom had always told me, like, your choices are college or military. Like, you know, pick one. And by college, scholarship. So I was like, all right. And fortunately, I got that. But yeah, you know, I planned to go into the military if I didn't. So, you know, my family had ties to the Citadel, and they wanted me to go there. But no, I just I don't think that had, you know, at the time, because, you know, 2 years had passed, so I don't think that had driven my passion toward anything.
Okay. I was just random question.
Other than, you know, you get, I felt, you know, patriotic at the point, because I felt like the country just came together, and you were like, I was super proud to be here. But
I always say, as much as I hated September 11th and how bad it was, September 12th was one of the greatest days in this country's history, just because I don't know. Everyone was nice. Everyone, it was such a bonding moment across the country, and there was at that point we were all Americans. Didn't matter about anything else. Your race, your religion, your sex orientation, none of that stuff mattered. That red, white, and blue was the most important thing in the world at the time, and I don't know. Maybe one day we'll get back to that without something tragic leading into it.
Yeah, you couldn't have said it better, because everybody had that same feeling. We were a united front, ready to go do whatever together, and I love that moment.
So after you go do the couple ride-ons, you apply. How long was that process to get hired?
I think it was maybe 4 months.
And how does it?
4 months.
Sorry, how does it work down here? Do you apply at a specific agency, or do you go like some states? You go and you apply. Basically, you take the test and everything, and then agencies can pick you off as long as you pass everything.
Yeah, no. So here it's agency specific.
Okay.
So I just applied at the county police, Gaston County Police. That's where he was at, and that's all I knew. I applied there, and they ran me through the process pretty fast. I mean, I think 4 months is pretty, give or take at the time. The way the access to everything was, it was pretty fast at the time, and then, I had to wait just a short period before I started rookie school.
Do you start? Do you go to the academy and then go to the get like an FTO, or
Yep.
do you, okay.
Yep. So 4 months of the academy, and then a 4 month give or take FTO process.
Do you have to leave, or is that through your the police department that they have their own academy?
We do not. So through here it's ran out of community college at Gaston College, and then every agency around that's probably within driving distance of here will send people to that class, and that's what we did.
Do you have multiple satellites throughout the state, or is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know how many, but yeah.
So there's not like one centralized where.
No.
Okay.
No, it's not like through the state. Like
Right.
gotta go to Raleigh, the capital, or nothing. No.
When you go through the police academy, is there anything that piques your interest on what you want to do within law enforcement, or were you just happy to have a job?
I got really interested in traffic stops. I felt like that was the part of the class that interested me the most, and I was kind of like, I think I would be pretty good at this. It's proactive, and I wanted to be proactive. I didn't want to be tied to a desk. I wanted to be out doing something. So yeah, the initial attraction was that.
How many years did you have on before you started to go down specialty routes?
So I think it was like 2.5 years, 2.5, 3 years on patrol. And then that's when I got on the highway interdiction team here.
How long did you do that?
Did that for 2 years.
Okay. How did that end? Did you want to get out? Did you want to go to a different specialty?
So during the latter part of being on the interdiction team, they I think they got tired of me calling for a canine so much. So I was given a dog at that point, and I was like, okay, now I'm a canine and interdiction officer, but something triggered there because our interdiction team was kind of dissipating, as far as personnel. So I was like, I think canine is going to be my new passion at that point. So that's when I started, researching and going to every class I could for canine training.
What was your first dog? What kind of breed?
Mal.
Male, female?
Male.
And then how many dogs have you had?
5.
So that takes up like most of your career, yeah?
Yeah, so I did it for 10 years.
Okay.
And it takes up a lot. So, I mean, one was, I probably had him for 9 months. He passed away of they said I would have had a better chance of hitting the lottery than him having that disease.
Wow.
But, yeah, so I count him, but
Yeah,
we didn't really get much work. But, yeah, so, and the other ones were after I kept my original dog the longest. Mm-hmm. And then after that, it was, I didn't want to go through training with a new dog to, I didn't know how long I was going to be in the unit. So I kind of, I would take someone's dog they didn't want or leaving the unit. And I was like, your dog's trained. I can transfer him over to me and work him, and, that would be good. So we did that. And, because of the dog who passed away, I put everything into him that I'd learned. And he was going to be great. And then he passes away, and I was like, man, I dedicated so much of my life to that dog. I was like, I don't think I can do it again right now, maybe later. So that's why I just chose to, take a hand-me-down from somebody.
No, yeah, I mean, it's the amount of dedication to run a dog is, especially initially, because if you don't lay that good foundation, you're screwed. like
right? You've been through it.
You can't do it, half-ass. Like, you have to lay a great foundation, so much time off your own time. And I know that departments give you a lot of training time and time off, but like, you're still doing a ton of stuff on your own time that in order to have a quality dog in the future. So I can only imagine going through. I mean, if you had to train up 5 dogs from the ground up, that'd be brutal.
Well, and plus during, probably halfway through that time, I became a trainer, and then it was not long after that, a master trainer. So I was buying our dogs and training them through that, usually 16 weeks, because we would buy them with 0 training and take them through the process. So, once you're buying 2 dogs at a time and you're training them for those guys, it's exhausting to kind of say, hey, I want to get mine and we're going to train yours as well. So I kind of just devoted everything into them being the best, and hey, I'm just here in a support role. Like, whatever y'all need, I'll give it to you. Go shine, and let's do this right.
How long were you on the job before you got promoted? Not into a specialty, but actual hard rank promotion.
15 years.
Oh wow, okay. Was that ever an aspiration for you, or was that more you wanted to be the police and keep doing the specialty aspect of it? And I don't know how your agency works. Some agencies work where you can't be promoted within the rank that you like. So a K9 guy theoretically couldn't give you promoted within a K9 unit because at a certain rank you got to give up your dog and all this other stuff. Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah, it is. So
okay.
I didn't want to get promoted because I loved doing the job. I loved, I loved out there just being with the guys and doing that job and serving the community. I felt like this is what I'm meant to do. But, there comes a point where running behind a dog is not, you're getting older. You're like, man, I've done it for 10 years. And there was a test coming up. And I thought, former chiefs and people like that I respected had told me at year 6, you need to take the test. You need to take the test. And I was like, I don't want to take the test. This is what I want to do. And, it came up to year 15 and they're like, take the test. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's time, But I wanted to make sure before I give people direction, I knew without a doubt 100%, I know exactly what I'm doing. And so when I'm able to give you a direction, it's not questioned because I've been there, done that, and I'm willing to do it again. I'm just asking you to follow me. So that was kind of, I knew at that point, it's time.
And where did that first promotion take you to?
Sergeant on patrol. Yeah, so I had a patrol squad for, I maybe did that for a year, maybe. I'm not sure.
Were you running a dog still or no?
No, so I went to patrol 6 months.
Okay.
So I went back to patrol for roughly 6 months or so, and then I got K9 sergeant, ran a dog. I did that for a year, and then that transferred me into Vice. So you kind of see my career path has always been, highway interdiction, drugs, K9 drugs. Now I'm going to Vice, drugs. But yeah, it's all stuff I wanted to, I just wanted to be proactive in whatever I did. So yeah, went to Vice for 4.5 years.
During this whole time, how many years do you have on the job?
Just right now, 21. Wait a minute. 3 days, 21 years complete.
What would you do outside of work that kind of relieved some stress, kept your mind off the job, where you can go and relax? Hobbies, anything along those lines?
Yeah, so, I'd given up basketball, and I kind of wanted to distance myself from it. I might go shoot or something like that, but playing was not in the cards, so I needed to find something else. And I found it my first day on patrol by myself. So I went through the FTO process, and then I got released, and they put me in the northwest part of the county. And so just imagine fields of grass and not much around, right? So I went there, and sometime during that afternoon I got a call. It was Ebola. Be on the lookout for a truck involved in an assault, a domestic assault. I think she was in bad shape, and when they give out the area, I'm like, I'm close. Like, I got to be close. So I drive, and I see this truck coming past me, so I stop him. And I go to arrest him. And again, I'm 6'4", 160 pounds at this point. I just got out of the academy, so I probably lost weight. And we get in a fight, and it lasted for 4 minutes. We're throwing hands for 4 minutes, and then he takes off running, and I chase him again. We're throwing more hands, and I finally get him in custody, and I called it out as soon as I could distance myself on the initial engagement. I called it out for assistance, and I think that it took someone like, it was either 7 minutes, the closest car to get there, and that was another city. And I had him in custody, but I thought, man, this is my first day. Like, if I'm gonna do this every day, I better get in the gym. So I left work that day, and I bought the big jug of protein, and I said my passion is gonna be something in the gym. And so ever since that day, I've been working out ever since then.
Were you? I mean, you're fit 'cause you're playing college ball, but were you big in the gym at all, or not really?
No.
Okay.
No.
Just cardio fitness was.
No, we did nothing other than like explosive drills and things like that for the gym. So nothing to improve like size or as far as being able to lift a certain amount. Nothing like that. So now I needed to gain strength, and so my goal was consume as much protein as I could. I think I overdid it a little bit, and it's just I've been lifting since. But it became, at some point, it turned from I want to get stronger to this is my 1 hour release from the stress and everything going on, not in life, but the job. The stresses you take home. So, and you know that better than anybody. So I think that's what it did for me. Somewhere along that point, I don't know when, and still to this day, that's my 1 hour that I don't think about work. I don't think about anything. It's just that 1 hour of me time in the gym.
What's your current position now?
So I'm the captain over 911 Communication Center.
So you left Vice and you became captain over that, or was there some other steps in between?
I got promoted out of Vice to a captain on patrol.
Okay.
Yeah, I did that for maybe a year or so.
With that, you're managing strictly cops?
Yes.
Okay. And how many cops were on your crew?
Roughly, it was supposed to have, it could be up to 15, but I think we ran with like 12.
Okay.
And 2 sergeants.
And now you're a captain over?
We have 65 civilian employees.
What is the difference between managing cops to managing civilians? Or leading, or however you want to word it?
Yeah, no, I would definitely say leading. I knew the cop world, and I knew how to inspire those guys and lead them, because I've done all this, and I can teach you how to write a search warrant. I can teach you how to breach a door. I can teach you clearing a house. I can teach you all this. But then I'm going to a communication center with not just civilians, but people who are doing a job that I have no idea, what you do. And it's been the best move of my life, honestly, because it's not just about managing, about leading them, but it's about learning what they do and how important it is in that system that we all make up public safety, because I have a newfound respect for what they do. And, I say it every time, they really are some of the most talented people. They really are. And to handle the stress and everything that goes on with just hearing it through a phone is, it's a whole different level of respect I have for them. And, I try to translate that over to the police department when we have meetings, and I try to include them in as much training as I can with officers, so that both sides can see what the other one does. And you can understand not only what they do, but the stresses that are endured by doing that job. And I think we've been kind of successful with that. I've really gotten them out of the comm center to, train with our guys and that aspect. So I think it's been good. It's been definitely a learning experience. I've learned so much about communications in general, and just dealing with, the 911 board and a large budget, things like that. It's all been incredible experience up to this point.
Managing people's, I don't like the word managing. I don't know. I keep saying it.
Heather would be mad at you.
Personality-wise, coming from law enforcement, there's a certain way that we could talk to each other, and it's not taken as disrespect or anything. It's kind of more direct. Was that hard? Was that a hard transition for you to go now talk to civilians that weren't like in the uniform and kind of police as paramilitary, so you can be a little more direct and they're not going to be offended? I would imagine talking to civilians sometimes, if you are that direct, you're not being mean, but it's going to be received in a different a way because it's not what they're used to.
Exactly. Yes. So, with any position that I take, I've learned that, you don't come in like a bull in a china shop. And I come in and I evaluate and I talk to people and I try to learn as much as I can before I'm making any decisions. And so going in over there, I went around and talked to people, and my first day I'm showing up in my white shirt, my gold badge, and I'm decked out, and I pull one of the guys and I say, hey, tell me about this job, tell me about my people and what to expect and things like that. And he said, well, first thing I would do is stop wearing that uniform. It's intimidating to them.
Makes
and
sense.
I don't believe they're going to communicate with you like you want. I was like, really? He's like, no. He's like, trust me, I think it's better if you don't. And so I remember the days that I would have presentations or something, and I had to wear my Class A and stuff, and I would go in the comm center, and I started to notice that I get a different reaction from everybody wearing that versus wearing my BDUs and a polo that says my name and has a badge. Totally different response. So I took that as a good learning experience, that any situation I go into, I'm going to get as much information as I can before doing anything, because some of those people know more than I will ever know about that particular job.
That's pretty golden, that someone had whoever you spoke to, that I don't know if you have a relationship with them, but they actually gave you some quality advice and like that, and trusted that you would listen to them and take it as constructive criticism in order to help you out.
Well, good point you brought up there. So what I like to do is, one of the first meetings I have with, we have an administration hallway of 5 people, 5 or 6. And so I brought them into the office and I told them, I said, guys, I want you to know, and I didn't know any of them on a personal level. We had never hung out, we'd never done anything. And so I told them, I was like, hey, I don't know what you've experienced in the past, and it doesn't matter, but I want you to know, with me coming in, I am like this every day. I don't have bad days. I don't have great days. I'm consistent. I'm positive. I like to keep things light, and I will take constructive criticism as long as you're willing to give it. So you can tell me anything. I don't hold it against you. I need to know. I'm asking because I want to know. I want to make it better. And I think, I didn't get the responses that I wanted initially. You can imagine, like, oh, he's fooling us. Mm-hmm. But now we've developed a relationship that they'll come into my office and they'll talk to me, like, and you can tell, and maybe they don't want to, but they're like, hey, I want to talk to you about the email you sent out. I'm not sure. Maybe we should do it this way and for these reasons. Because one thing I told them is, if you give me a suggestion, I'm open to listen all day long. I said, but I need a reason. I said, the one thing I always hated in administration coming up in this department, in any department, was when I would question something, why do we do it like that? And they said, that's the way it's always been done. I was like, so if you're going to give me that answer, don't give it to me. Tell me a reason, good or bad, I need to know it, and then we can make change. I'm good with that. So that's the way I've kind of approached everything up to this point is I've got an open mind about everything. And like I said, those people know more about that particular job than me. So I would be dumb not to listen to them and be open to their suggestions.
No, I love that when people have problems, they're like, this is a problem. Okay, how do we fix it? Nothing. I'm like, well, that doesn't help me out any. So yeah. I love that like, if you do have a problem, just come to me with a solution. Even it could be, I don't have to agree with your solution, but at least that you're thinking like, hey, this is bad, or I think this is bad, and this might be better. Even as a leader, you don't have to necessarily agree, but I'm happy that they're forward thinking enough that there might be an option that I'm not thinking of, and maybe I agree with it, maybe I don't. Yeah. But at least they're forward thinking. I don't know. I love that aspect, and I love that you give them that tool. Like, hey, like I'm open. I'm an open book. Just don't come and say this is a problem without a solution. Give me the solution too, and we could talk about it.
Yeah. Give me suggestions, whatever it is. I'm open to it. And now I can honestly say to this day, we've developed a relationship that we know where the boundaries are of what we need to do and our responsibilities. And I give them the responsibility to do their job. I do not micromanage them, and I've never tried to do that. So I want to kind of be that voice for them when it comes to the department. And that's why I told them, I'm like, I'm here to represent you to them. So I will build you up every opportunity I get. I just need y'all to give me reasons. Whatever you do, your performance, extracurricular activities outside of work, whatever you do. And, like I talked to you during Helene, right? Mm-hmm. And you were coming down to provide supplies down here to Western North Carolina. And, that was the first time that I told them, I sent out an email, who wants to volunteer to go to different places, different cities that were affected by Helene to dispatch. The communications are down, but they need tactical dispatchers, and it's kind of a hard job. It's not your normal. And I got such an overwhelming response of people that wanted to go help. I was really touched by that because I was like, man, we have a lot of good people that really want to help the community. And so we end up sending, I think, 6 or 8 to different parts of Western North Carolina, and it's never been done. But if it were to happen anywhere else, we're going to classes to get trained for that type of thing to be able to respond in emergency situations. So they did a phenomenal job representing our agency, and I couldn't say enough about what they did.
That's all. Through your 21 years, what has been your most favorite position that you've held, either in a leadership role or just in a, I guess, I don't know, general assignment or specialty role?
See, I think it's a tricky question, and because at the time you're doing it, it's the best job ever. And now it wouldn't be fun to me to be a dog handler because I don't want to chase a dog and I don't want to run behind them for miles, so it doesn't sound like fun. But when I was canine, it was the best job ever. I said I'll do it for 30 years. And then, I was really surprised when I went to Vice, and it's an office type position, but you're still out in the field doing operations. I didn't think I would like it as much as I did, and I fell in love with narcotics. And so one of those two to date would be my favorite. But as from a leading perspective, I love what I'm doing now because I didn't know that I would enjoy it as much as I do.
Outside of work, personal life, married, kids, anything along those lines?
Married, no kids.
Do you think having a supportive wife benefits you in the profession that we have compared to others across the board? I'm not saying like a great wife is great no matter what field you're in, right? But I'm saying a lot of times if you don't have an understanding and empathetic wife as a cop and you can't confide in your spouse, it makes this job a lot harder. Just from my perspective of talking to cops all over the country, that's one thing that I've noticed is good cops, level-headed cops have great spouses.
100%. Couldn't agree more. And fortunately, even to double down on that, my wife is a detective with our department. So for her to have the understanding of what we do and the schedule, because at first, I was in Vice Narcotics when we met. So, I could get a call at 2 a.m. and, hey, I need you in. We got a deal going. We got this. And I'm running in to do a deal, and I could be back in an hour. I could be back, the next day at 5. I don't know. And so to have her understand exactly what's going on it's been paramount in our relationship, because when she gets called out to a murder at 2 a.m, I understand what's happening.
Right.
And I'm totally good with it. And so I think just having a supportive spouse it's been tremendous for me. But yeah, just our relationship in whole, I think, it's been amazing. And we're still on this roller coaster of fun. Yeah.
That's awesome. 21 years, the technology that you've seen in it, the progression, what are some of the biggest technology changes that you've seen?
Well, like LPRs have become, like license plate readers, have become more of a tool, affordable tool, I would say, because before they were not. I mean, I think, you know, you gave a class at our department yesterday, and watching some of your slides of things that you use, I was really impressed, kind of wishing I was back on the road with access to those things, because I was like, wow, I could really do a lot of damage with those if I had those programs. And it's came such a long way, and our department is very forward thinking when it comes to stuff. We don't, you know, I don't know that we want to experiment with tons of money on technology, but if it's proven and it's effective for the community, then yeah, we're gonna do it. So it's came a long way, I can tell you that.
All right, now let's talk a little bit about what was your motivation to run for the sheriff's office? What's behind that? Have you ever desired to be in politics? Was that something that you've ever thought, like, you know, in 20 years of a cop, I'm going to be a politician?
No. So, you know, the politics, so I'll separate it. The politics part of it, I'm trying to look at it not as a political position, okay, right? In my mindset, the way I take things, I'm approaching it as it's you're leading a department, right? I mean, however you split the hairs and whatever title you give it, you're leading a group of people to be better for the community, better for themselves. That's what you're in it for. So the politics of it, I'm really trying not to get caught up in that. I've never been I never thought I would get involved in this. It wasn't like when I was 6 years old, I said, I want to be sheriff. He came by and shook my hand. I was like, I'm going to be you one day. So there's none of that. It was more of, you know, I've kind of seen, you know, our sheriff's office, I think they could be a lot more productive in what they're doing, and that has nothing to do with the men and women who work there. I believe they are great people. I know a lot of them, and I just, you know, I feel like true leadership is really needed. That was my thinking. It's no more than that. It needs to be done, and I'm in a position to do it. I work at a great department. There's no reason for me to leave, other than the older that I've gotten, I care a lot about my community. I have a great passion for where I live, and I want to take care of it. And seeing the state of the sheriff's office now, I believe that I could be a huge positive impact for them and the community. So that's my ultimate, you know, reason for wanting to do it.
I don't know how departments are around here, but by me, a lot of times we all go to the police academy together. We're kind of like a regional academy like you, and we build these camaraderies. But for whatever reason, oftentimes when, I don't even know how to even word it, but sometimes when people get in a position of power, I don't know, like egos, I guess, take over, and then what it would do is it creates a lot of animosity within departments at a higher level. Like, you know, like the guys and girls that are out there doing the job, they could give two shits about what's taking place at the admin level. Yeah. But we, you know, as time evolves and you've been doing the job for a while, you start to see like weird things with police administrations. I don't know how it is down here, and I'm not even asking you if it's that way, but is there a better way that you could bring departments together that you think you could mend fences if they're ever broken, or if everything's great on that level, just to keep it the way it is?
No, I mean, we definitely wouldn't want to keep it the way it is. So a little backstory on that. So you said earlier in the podcast, we have a county police, a county sheriff's office, and a city police.
The weirdest thing I've never seen in my life.
And they're all big departments, right? They're all very large. So the reason the county police was created was in 1957. They were created to investigate corruption at the sheriff's office. So when that was formed, they kept getting bigger, and they said, hey, y'all are going to do everything criminal. They're going to do everything civil, the jail and the courthouse. And so that's how they've kind of blossomed both. And I think that, you know, that they both serve a purpose. And so, yeah, I don't know. the relationship between those two us and the sheriff's office has never been one to like really come together.
What kind? I mean, how was founded? One's investigating the other.
Yeah, I mean,
that's like a generational thing at this point.
Right. So for whatever reason, I mean, it's we've never held hands at the top level. So that is, and I would take that as an accomplishment. If when I'm the sheriff, is that I have that relationship with the county police. It's not going anywhere. I will forever be thankful for that department for what they've raised me to be, because I've learned so much. I've been afforded so much training. It's a professional department with great people, and I couldn't say enough good things about our department. So yeah, for the opportunity to be the sheriff and to be able to mend those fences would be paramount for the citizens. That's the ultimate goal. You want to serve your community, you want to do it the right way. If you can just be able to share those resources, a lot of good things will happen.
And a lot of citizens don't even realize the back door, like not even that back door, like behind the scenes. Because if you have a chief and a sheriff, they're all going to shake hands and kiss babies and shake each other's hands, all that stuff in front of the public. And then, behind the scenes, there might be some animosity that no one will ever know about, just because they keep it at a professional level, even if there is that awkwardness or whatever, where there's some like weird animosity for whatever reason. With the sheriff's office, I know your department is very proactive with technology. How is the sheriff's office with that?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
From a technology perspective, it would have to be everything that's dealing with the jail and the courthouse. So you're talking like upgrading like metal detectors, anything like that coming into the courthouse to prevent weapons from coming in there. Jail, same thing. And then any technology, software programs or anything like that has been implemented in the jail, and I'm not aware of what they are. I mean, they may be great, they may not. I just without evaluating it, I don't know.
Financially, now that you're in this position where you got to manage a budget compared to a crew of men and women on patrol, how do you think that will transition to the sheriff's office?
So the way that I've approached our budget, I was taught very well by several chiefs, and I have a good relationship with our chief, and I've been afforded not just the responsibility of a large budget, but also to be in the meetings where we evaluate how it's done and the way we need to do things. So I've taken that experience and just I tried to implement what they teach me and implement it into the communication center, and we have updates. I have updates with my operational manager every 2 weeks to see where we're at, which I don't have to. You don't have to do it every 2 weeks. You could do it on a monthly basis, but I like to do it every 2 weeks because I like to know if we need to throttle something or not. And I like different projects that I like looking at to see if the money's there, if it's going to be there in 2 months or where we're at. So I'm really big on keeping track of those things because some people look at it as their open wallet, and these are mine and your dollars. They're the taxpayers' dollars. The next door neighbor, it's their money. So yeah, you have to be careful the way you do it. So I've been blessed to be able to learn from our upper administration about how to do it the right way.
I think transparency when it comes to finances, I know you don't like this word, but in any political office, like that's paramount, because me as a citizen, if you're spending my money, theoretically my tax dollars, and I'm not seeing anything improve, like, and I'll break it down even like in a mayor, like the roads. If I have crappy roads, like where's the money going? And if you're a mayor and you're like, hey, you know what, we're trying to build this huge park over here, the roads are going to be shitty for 2 years, so we, okay, but if you're transparent with me, it's more receptive than I'm in the dark and I don't even know that you're trying to build this huge park for the kids or something. You know what I mean? So yeah. I think transparency on the financial aspect of it, I think in any political field, but definitely on the finances, being transparent will be paramount.
Absolutely, yeah. And so, I'm even transparent with our, with every employee at communications. They may bring up a training. I'm like, hey, send it to me. Let's look at it. I'll look at it. And then, I explain what the budget situation is for training, whether it's there, whether it's not, and for these reasons. And I think as long as people know a reason, they're very comfortable with the answer, whether it's good or bad, because, hey, I understand that, and so I don't have a problem with being transparent in any of that. I think you should.
Yeah, no, I agree. And again, you talk about there's a problem and a solution. They come to you. Like if you give them that, like, nah, we can't do this now because this is where the funding's going or something. I think it goes over so much better than just keeping people in the dark.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do they have a dog program at the sheriff's office?
They
For
do.
the jail?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that like narc dogs and stuff, or?
So the last excuse me, the last time that I actually knew, a lot of information about it was 2 drug dogs, 2 bomb dogs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pointy ears, floppy ears.
So they were all pointy ears. I believe a couple males, a couple shepherds, and now I seen recently within the past several months they purchased a lab. So he's a fentanyl narcotic dog.
It's a good choice.
Yeah,
floppy ears are way better than
absolutely, absolutely, especially in a confined space.
Are those dogs single purpose, or do they track? Do they do anything like that?
So, I believe they're duly trained. So again, without me going out there training with them, I don't know to what capacity they operate. But yeah, it's as far as I know, tracking, maybe articles, detection, whether it's bomb or narcotic. Yeah.
If they didn't have a program, and when you become sheriff, I figured that you would start one just with
absolutely.
your phone.
100%. You can't leave the dog world behind. That's it's just a force multiplier,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that. So I don't know why you would leave that out, but yeah.
Do you have any other aspirations, specialties, anything like that you would want to see in that sheriff's office?
Absolutely. Yeah, I have a couple things, but I'm not going to tell you because it'll get implemented on Monday and they'll take credit for it. But yeah, absolutely. There are several things that I've got contacts with certain people, and I have the ability without affecting taxpayer dollars to implement those things, and I definitely plan on doing that because again, it's a force multiplier for the citizens here, and morale with the sheriff's office will be definitely boosted by doing those things.
Do you have any aspirations to merge the sheriff's office with the police department?
None.
Okay.
None. And I don't think that, like I said before, I believe they both serve a purpose. And, my administration would not support me to go get a job to take over their department. I don't think that's how that works. So, that's nobody should be thinking about that. That we both have a job, we have responsibilities, and we just have to do them to the best of our ability.
Do you have any politicians in your family at all?
None.
This is the first time cold, like you have no idea what you're doing, just out there swinging.
This is an experience for everybody, and so no politicians, nothing like that. This is it's a journey. It's been a learning experience for sure, and I'm I'm only a month or so into it. So
when you win, do you have a predetermined? I don't know how this administration structure works, but do you have a predetermined assistant sheriff, a chief? I don't know how it works, but do you have any type of your administration already picked, or?
No. I feel like that's putting the cart before the horse, in any situation. I've never been one to make plans on the back end when I haven't even accomplished what's on the front. So, of course, does my mind go places sometimes? I'll be like, oh, he would be good, or this person, who's already at the sheriff's office would be good here, Of course, I have those thoughts, but I'm not approaching and implementing anything because I think that's premature, and I don't think that's right.
I agree. Yeah, I don't. I agree. I mean, I don't see how you could even go down that avenue of making these decisions and you're not there.
Yeah,
like you start promising people, and I don't know. I'm a person that I don't want to let people down. So like, of course, I think you're going to win the sheriff's office, but if I was in your shoes and I promised someone and I didn't win, then I felt like I let them down. Without right now, if you didn't win, all you're letting down is yourself. I can let myself down all day. If I let other people down, then I'm like depressed and miserable about it. You know?
I don't want people depending on me to win this thing. Of course, the support's been tremendous, and I love it. I think they've been great. But I don't want the weight of that, right. Depending on me winning this. So no, it's been good, but I'm not gonna pre-plan anything like that.
When is the election?
March 3rd next year.
Okay. So you got like a year in advance?
Yeah, about 10 months or so.
Okay.
So, yeah. It's a long road.
Anything that you want to touch on that we haven't talked about?
I think, some of the things that I hear rumblings about that are, things like, if I would come over there and just turn it upside down to fit the department that I'm at, and I think that's just, man, that's sad that that's even out there. And there are going to be lots of things between now and then that come out that are just, like, if you know me, then I'm not one to suppress anything. If anything, I'm going to improve it, and that's my goal, because that's what I'm about. That's what I've done with every unit I've been in. Like, my thought is going into it, I'm going to evaluate, listen, but how can we make it better, right? And so that would be my goal with this is to make it better, and I just want people to know that I'm not in it to limit anything that's going on. It's going to be to expand our services to the community is what it's going to be. But the biggest thing is that I bring to and this, because we joke a lot behind the scenes and in K9 and things like that, but you've seen our team, right? And the morale that we have just within our unit. And so if we can bring that to a whole office of people, our community would be so much better served with that type of morale, because when you have good morale, you're going to deliver a better product. That's just period. And so that's one of the major things that I can bring. I've done it, so I'm excited about bringing it there.
To build someone's morale, I know what you're going to say here, but to build the morale of a unit, a person, a department, an agency, anything along those lines, what is the most effective way?
Giving them freedom and responsibility and accountability. I believe, I like to deliver expectations, but not unreal expectations. And so I believe when I give those expectations that are measurable, but you can deliver on those because I can do it, right? And I would never ask any one of my deputies, jailers, anybody to do something that I'm not going to do myself.
Gentlemen, whether you are leading the charge at work or just in line at happy hour, you need gear that can keep up. From our rugged beard and oil balm that tame the wildest whiskers to our classic pomade that locks in that clean, commanding look, Semper Suave has your six. No flakes, no fuss, all day, and battlefield level confidence. So square that beard line up, even though people in counterculture think that I don't have a beard. Donut shop. Semper Suave has got your six. Make you look slick and keep you sharp for critical missions or to serve and protect. Check out Semper Suave. We're thrilled to have them as a sponsor. Let us know what you think.
And they'll see when I get this, like, I'm gonna be in the jail with you. I'm going to be in the pod with you. I'm going to go ride in the car while you serve papers. I'm going to do these things because I want to learn what you do. How can I make it better without even knowing what you do? And so I build the morale by, don't want to give too much away. Again, it'll be an effect on Monday. But no, seriously, like, you get involved with them, but you have to be their biggest cheerleader as well. When they do something, recognize it. Celebrate their successes. And I don't think we do enough of that sometimes. So I've really been cognizant about, when it's there, recognize it, because it may not get recognized any other time. And that may be their one success for the month. So, recognize that. And I think it's just constantly being present. I'm not one to just avoid the responsibility of a hard job. So, I got to be there. I got to know what is our capabilities, and then lead from the front. I'm big on that. Again, I'm not going to ask you to do anything I wouldn't do myself.
One of my favorite bosses of all time, or leaders, whatever you want to word it, he always used this. He's like, I will always praise you in public, and I will educate you in private. Because he's like, I'm not yelling at you. I'm educating you on how to make this better, And he's like, and I'll never call you out in front of people and educate you in front of people, but I will always praise you in public, educate you behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
And I think that goes a long way. And you earn a lot of respect from guys and girls, because most guys and girls, if they make a mistake, they know they made a mistake.
Yeah.
If you call them out in front of the squad, they'll hate you forever.
Yep.
If you pull them aside and say, hey, and to the point that you don't even say like, hey, everyone's free to go, but you stay with me. Like, no. When you get a chance, you pull them aside and you have that conversation with them, so no one knows.
Right.
And if you, I don't know.
It goes a long way.
Yeah, he was one of the best leaders I had, and I will forever be grateful. And I try to emulate a lot of the things that I do based on what he had, like something as simple as that.
Well, let him know I'm going to steal that. So and that's what we do. We take those things that we like, and I like that. That's good, and it's true. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So,
well, we're wrapping up here, a little bit over an hour. We always end all our podcasts with one question. We teach for Justice Academy. So what is your definition of justice? Put you on the spot. Love it.
Justice is when the right thing is done. Whew, man, that's tough because I'm thinking of different circumstances. I think no matter what is being done, the outcome is one that is, I would say, in favor of the right thing being done.
I like it. Then
it's hard to put that in words.
No,
but
I know.
I'm thinking
I kind of know where you're, like, basically, like, in a situation where society says this is right and wrong, and you have to, you know, whether you agree with it or not, society's already put those kind of rules on you. And I think that's kind of what you're trying to say is, like, basically society said, you know what, this is right or wrong. You can still be empathetic and understanding, but you still did something wrong. And, you know, whatever society has set those rules in place, you still have to live up to what the actions you committed were.
Absolutely. Anything you do, yeah, there has to be, you know, and I kept wanting to use the word justice, and I was like, you can't do that. But no, yeah. So, yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you, and good luck.
Man, I appreciate you, and thank you for what you do. You know, I heard you wrap up the class yesterday, and to know that your job has affected so many, not just officers, but the stops that they have gotten that have prevented human trafficking and, you know, the flow of drugs through our communities, man. I can't say thank you enough for educating these guys. I know our guys yesterday in that class learned a tremendous amount. They respect you. Keep doing your content because they watch it, they send it to me, and man, we love it, man. So thank you for what you do. I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you having me. It was my privilege and my honor to be here, man.
Awesome.